Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) has seized no less than 14,481,519 pills of tramadol and bottles of codeine syrup, worth over 13 billion naira in street value in Nigeria's commercial capital. The recovery was done in three major busts of drug cartels operating in Amuodofin, Idumota, and Sako, shed of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, six suspects already in NDLEA custody includes Oladele Sanyaolu, Lawal Itunu Temitokbe, Sanamo Ala Daniel, Ude Felix Monday, Musa Mutalib, and also Ugene Evans Isibo, while three other suspects, Serki Mubarak Salami, Abdullahi-Aliyu, also known as Boki, and Monday Anwal, are now on the run and wanted by the NDLEA. Now, the organization also arrested three blind drug syndicate members operating in Lagos and Kano. Now, joining us on the news is Justin Enahoro Adelusi-Adeluyi. Of course, is the team lead of ERACRUNDA project. Thank you so much for your time, Justin.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. Thank you so much, Dapo.
All right, great. Now, Nigeria's NDLEA has made a landmark arrest in recent days of drug traffickers, mostly linking them to some sort of cartel-like system. Why does the country suddenly have a surge in drug trafficking cases? And is it because of the economic situation that is prevalent in the country?
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dapo. First and foremost, a great commendation to the NDLEA team for such massive groundbreaking arrest. I mean, 15 billion naira worth of narcotics off the streets would definitely prevent ravaging youths who would have gone into a life of destruction and ultimately death. So a great kudos to the NDLEA government, parastatal of the nation. For the economic advancement and the economic effects on the drug trafficking, I would say, with the state of the nation right now, there's a lot of pressure on families, pressures on individuals to go away from the norm into a lot of illicit dealings, and drug addiction, drug trafficking is one of the major and the easiest ways to get access to funds, So I could say the economy would be a major factor in the hike and the surge of this.
Now, what would it, would it be out of place to also link the sudden rise?
They're intertwined because at the end of the day, the increase in the access and availability of these illicit drugs, which are quite addictive, would obviously increase its use, its abuse, and things that will spiral into addiction and all of these things. So the increase in the demand for the drugs obviously increases the demand for the narcotics. So basically, if there's an increase in the trafficking, there's definitely, most definitely, going to be an increase in the use of these drugs out there in the street. So now, great kudos to the NDLEA for removing well over 15 billion naira worth of narcotics off the street.
All right. Now, do you think the government is adopting the right approach in combating this particular menace? Particularly in terms of, some would say as much as you have the stick, there should also be the carrot approach. Yes, you've caught people probably using the drugs or those into the trade, particularly for those using the drugs. Does it just stop at, picking them up and arresting them? Or should they actually go through the process of maybe a psychological circle where they see a psychologist and then they try to understand the root cause and all of this? How do you rate the government's approach in this combat?
All right, thank you very much, Dapo. The government is doing a great job in trying to tackle this menace that has ravaged the youth, which is obviously the future of our great nation, Nigeria. But I would say it's two-way approach, all right? The government is going straight up for the punishment side of things, but I would say there should be a lighter mode in terms of rehabilitation, psychological rehabilitation, to help to see how these people who have used their talents negatively can be forced to put it into use in a positive manner. All right, so the government is doing a great job, with eradicating crime, unemployment, and drug addiction from our youths. But I think there should be more consideration in more lighter and subtle approaches to these things to try and tackle the root cause of these trafficking, the root cause of these drug abuse and all of these things. People are put under so much pressure by the circumstances all around them, and this pushes them into all of these things, the peer pressure, the negative influencers all around the world, so many factors. So the government have to put all of these into consideration when they're trying to tackle this major problem, this major crisis in the country.
Just before I let you go, let's talk about the future of, will I say, drug fight in Nigeria. We know before the assumption of the current leader of the NDLEA, it seemed like nothing was happening, but since Buba Marwa took the helm of affairs, it seems they've been up and running at a very, well, I call it at light speed. Now, what do you anticipate as the future of not just drug use, which we of course hope that drops in Nigeria, but the future of the fight itself in the country?
Right, it's only going to get better with the government playing a major role.
Do you think? Because as much as we see the government put in so much effort, every day we see very interesting stories. I remember, was it last year or early this year? There was a warehouse somewhere in Lagos too, where they seized, a large amount of drugs, right?
Yes.
And right now we are beginning to see this again. So I don't know. Would you say it's progressive? The fight in any way, or people are just getting more creative in smuggling the thing and passing it around?
Right. Obviously, the traffickers would have to get more creative, but then I can see the future of drug eradication getting easier and easier for the government and all the agencies involved. As long as effort is being made, effort is being put into eradicating crime, unemployment, and all of the factors, the root factors that would push someone to go away from the legal state of doing things to the illegal things, like drug trafficking, drug abuse, and all of these things. So I see it getting much better with more effort put into all of these things. So the future of this country, the future of the war against drug addiction is getting easier. And I see that even with the creativity from the drug traffickers, the drug peddlers, the money launderers, and all of these things, the war is going to keep getting tighter. We're going to fasten our seatbelts and see how we can eradicate crime, eradicate unemployment, and ultimately eradicate drug addiction from our youths and the nation in general. Companies like myself, organizations like myself, like the ERACRUNDA project, which is focused on eradicating crime, unemployment, and drug addiction from the youth, spiraling from the grassroots all the way up to a national level, doing major rehabilitation, of your mind, getting you engaged in other positive things that you can be involved in. All of these things put together would definitely make the war against drug addiction a lot easier in the country. So I think it's a great deal, a great future for this country. And I believe ultimately that our home country, the true giant of Africa, Nigeria, shall be great again.
Justin and Aro, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Dapo, for having me. God bless you.